Oh, okay. I'm looking
You're
for
good.
buttons everywhere and I can't find anything, but I'm on my iPad so I can work on my phone. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
not showing up for me.
Yeah, I do not like to try to do it from my phone because I only know how to do it from my computer. So I'm the opposite. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
That's funny.
We'll give
Like I
everybody.
can't even see comments or like I can't,
Oh, you can't? There should
no.
be a button where you press, I always have to find mine, the chat. It's like a little blurb at the bottom. I don't know if it's the same on the iPad.
Oh, and I can't even, the picture's going to suck on here. So like, I
Well,
don't have anything.
I'll read them to you. It's fine.
Okay.
So as everyone's hopping on, just drop where you're joining us from tonight. I like to see where everyone logs on from. I'm from Florida. It's still really hot here. I know some of you are experiencing winter already, but it's still hotter than the pits of hell here. How's your weather, Brandon?
It's cold as balls. It's cold.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It is hotter than the pits of hell here. Yeah, it's muggy, still swampy here. So if you are on, go ahead and send out some reminders if you're in any group pages, any group chats. I know we have a lot of leaders in Mexico, so shout out to everybody in Mexico at Club 90. That's super exciting. I have serious FOMO right now. I can't even begin to tell you. It's terrible, but I'm making it through. So I put out a couple reminders while we're waiting. I'm excited for tonight. I've been trying to get Brandon on for a while. Both of us have really crappy Wi-Fi, so we have our fingers crossed that we're going to pull this power hour off. Give everybody just a minute to hop on. We're recording because everybody will say, I hope you recorded. So that's good. Check, check. All right. Perfect. Excited for tonight. It's been a heck of a day. Oh, I see where he went live now. I was driving. So obviously I wasn't. All right, well, it is 7:03, so we're going to go ahead and get started with those that are here because I don't like wasting people's time and everyone showed up on time. So we are recording and I'm super excited for tonight's edition. Like I mentioned, I've been trying to get Brandon on. Our schedules are crazy. She's a busy, super busy mom and author now. So obviously we're going to talk a little bit about Brandon's book. We can't miss the opportunity to do that. So I'm super excited. Mine is on the way. So I haven't read it yet. So don't give us too much, obviously, because we all need to get it. That's obvious. I've seen great reviews. I've seen everyone talking about it. So I'm super excited for you. I remember when Brandon gave me the call and told me that this was happening. So I had a little bit of secret information for a little while. So that was awesome to just kind of get to share that with her. So first and foremost, let's talk about the book and then we'll jump into some activities. So I'm sure you've talked about this book until you're purple in the face. So go ahead and run us some highlights on exactly your inspiration, all the details, like tell us all the things about your book.
All right. So Once Upon a Time, Bitches. This if it wasn't for network marketing, this wouldn't even be about. Like I've been trying to be I've been a writer all my life. I'm talking 10 years of rejection, 10 years of querying agents, 10 years of hearing the word no. And this is definitely a God moment for me because I wrote fiction and apparently it wasn't my genre at that point because of all the rejection. But I came into this network marketing is all about personal development. Like it's 90% personal development. And through that journey, I discovered a lot of things I wish I would have known since I was a little girl. I spent all my life wishing and, just like, God, please just make this easier for me. And I promise I'll do this. And, God, can't you just send someone to make, to help me or, just we are wishing and waiting. And I thought, how many women out there right now are wishing instead of realizing that the power is inside of them. So I wrote this book because I grew up loving fairy tales. I didn't have a childhood, and I feel like I've always latched on to that princess story, you know, the prince coming to rescue her. And I realized that no one's coming to save me. And I wanted to empower other women to understand, like, no one's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. So that was like my aha moment. And I'm like, all right, God, I'm just going to write this book once upon a time, bitches. Cause I want it to be, you know, I want it to have that feeling of like fairy tales can and do exist as long as you're going to work for them. Like, it doesn't get easier. You have to get better. And that takes a lot. And that doesn't end. It doesn't end like all of a sudden I went through this and I'm in a great place right now. Like, I'm still struggling with personal development. And I think the rest of your life, you're going to have to wake up and say, how can I do this better today? You know, that's the magic of life. That's the magic of growth. And that's your story. All the crap you think that is holding you back, or the things that you're struggling through, those are the things that are going to inspire other people to just keep moving forward.
Absolutely. I love that. And I kind of had that same, I mean, I think that's, whether you're the top of the company or you're a brand new associate starting in this company, I think that's something that we all struggle with, that we all, at some point, I've had a really rough couple of weeks with both my personal life and some business things. And it's just been really rough. And, you know, I went to bed one night at like 6:30 with this stupid time change. And I was like, all right, Elisa, you can either, you know, today was your day to sit around, pout, poor me, blah, 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 bullshit. And then tomorrow you have the choice to get up and make it better. And I set that self, like, I've had surgeries through illnesses, things like that. I give myself goals to kind of get over that. I know that's silly, crazy, but I had surgery about 1.5 years ago. And the doctor called me like 2 days later, like, oh, what medicine? The nurse was like, what medicine are you still taking? I was like, none. Like, I gave myself a goal, like, oh, I can be sick and in bed for 2 days. And then I don't have time for that. Back to reality for me. So I love that. And I completely agree. It's okay to stumble, and we all stumble, and we all have shit days, if you will. But the fact that you have to make the decision the next day to break that, because how easy is it to fall into that slump of like a terrible day, another terrible day, another terrible day. You know what I mean? And it just like kind of starts consuming you, and it gets heavier and heavier. And the next thing you know, you're miserable, you know? Mm-hmm. So I love that. I love that mindset. And I can't agree more that, you know, yes, we have great, you know, fairy tales as children, but that's not real life for most people. No one I know. And being in this industry where we have it's such a woman dominated industry, right? So there's obviously many women like you and myself that say, okay, had a shitty day, but tomorrow, whatever I'm going to do is going to make whatever my shitty day was better the next day. So I think that's super awesome. So let's kind of talk about, what are the biggest strengths that network marketing has done to you? We talked a little bit about personal development, but what are some marketing?
I think the biggest thing that this brought out in me is that I've been a loner. Like, I've been out on my own since I was 12, and yes, I can at this point see that God had a huge part in navigating me. There's no way I really did it by myself, but I'm a very stubborn person. I don't ask for help. I don't make connections with people because of just all of these struggles. And I think network marketing has like forced me to be a people person. And I've learned, I used to say I hated people. I used to say I was introverted, and I would lean on all of these excuses about why I couldn't build relationships. I couldn't, you know, I was just here to share some products and make some money. Like, don't talk to me. Don't, you know, I don't want to get my heart invested in this because it gets broken. And the thing is, like, guess what? It is going to get broken, and it's going to get broken over and over. But then there's also going to be magic in people building it up. And for every heartbreak you're experiencing, you're impacting 100 more lives behind that. So it really is just that people factor for me, that realizing you can't succeed in this industry by yourself. That's impossible.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, it's hard not to take things personal. It's because there's so much gray area in our industry, in my opinion, out of all industries, because we are coworkers, if you will, but we're also independent contractors, but we're also friends. So it's hard, when people leave the company or people find their calling elsewhere, it does hurt your feelings. It does suck because you're like, wait, what did I do? I think we do kind of tend to make it about ourselves when in actuality, we had some higher up leaders leave earlier this year. And I said, why would you want someone to be here that's not happy? Like if they're miserable, and in a couple of circumstances, I know that they were absolutely just miserable human beings where they were, and they had to make a change for themselves. That didn't have anything to do with me or the actions that I had done. It had to do with, they had to get their mindset right. And I can't take that personal. So I think that that's been kind of one of the lessons I've learned doing this for like 8 years now is, like you said, I've gotten my heart broken and I've had my heart stepped on and smashed, and, friends that I thought were friends weren't really friends, and people that I was told they're terrible people ended up being some of my best friends. I mean, there's just so many things I've seen. I live in a really small town. I still live here. I was born and raised here. And I can tell you that I didn't experience pure evil. I just didn't know what pure evil was. Like, I didn't know people just like made up lies or, like I've experienced that. And I'm like, wait, this is like really, but in return, so I had my heart broken, but in return, I've met some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. So I agree with you. It's such a double-edged sword. So I want you all to know, be prepared to have your heart broken and broken again, unfortunately. But it's always worth it, and there's always a bigger, better plan. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I want to talk a little bit about, because I actually got to experience this with you as well, what's in the envelope Wednesday. So take me back. So if anybody follows Brandon, I again happen to be part of this story. I kind of firsthand literally experienced this. So let's talk about, tell the people on here how you do it, how you run it, and then also how it came about, because I think it's such a great idea.
Okay. So what's in the envelope Wednesday? It was actually like a really embarrassing come about story. I was at an event and I had a gift for my upline, and it was in a manila envelope because I was going to send it to her. But then I was like, well, I'm going to see her in 2 weeks. I'll just bring it to her. So I'm at this huge event. I don't really know anybody. And I'm in an elevator with a guy named Jordan Adler, who is a best-selling author and, a top leader in his industry. And everybody knows who he is except me, apparently. And so we're in an elevator, and he just keeps asking me, like, what's in the envelope? What's in the envelope? And I'm like, well, tune in Wednesday to my video and you'll find out. Like, I'm sarcastic, like I wasn't going to tell him. But he was very adamant about finding out what was in it. And he said, I don't even remember what, like, the final conversation when he was getting out of the elevator. But I'm like, what am I gonna do? A shout out to the short guy with glasses in the elevator that wanted to know what was in it, right? So I say this to Jordan Adler. And later that night, after all the speakers were done, we kind of all met downstairs for cocktails or whatever. Some lady comes up to me and she's like, that was Jordan Adler. And so, he was a speaker on stage, and I didn't even put two and two together. So I was humiliated, thinking my life in network marketing is over, because he was like, who is this person? But no, he sent her over directly to talk to me to find out really what was in the envelope. So the fact that I had a network marketer that was very successful, curious about what I was doing, I started doing What's in the Envelope Wednesdays. And it's just a giveaway if people like and share my video. And sometimes I'll have them do something extra. That's just kind of how it gets started. So it's been fun.
I love that. I remember that event. I remember that story specifically. So I just wanted to share the transparency of how that came about, because like I said, if you follow Brandon, you've seen it, but I think it's such a great story. And like, Brandon is so real. And she literally was like, what do I do? Shout out to the guy in glasses, the bald headed guy in the elevator.
Short, bald guy with glasses. I just held nothing back. I was just like, that was it. So we're friends now, and he's my short, bald guy with glasses, and we're cool about it. Like, we're okay now, but yeah. Great moment.
I Yeah, that was actually a good story. But let's talk about, she turned basically humiliation, pure humiliation, into something really cool. So she used that embarrassment at, kind of like as a motivational tool to like, oh my gosh, how do I get myself out of this? So how cool is that, you all? So make sure you do tune in for that. Brandon and I did not go over any of this. Like we're just having a basic conversation for you all. So we didn't pre-plan any of this. I like to do these interview styles when I do Power Hour, because people like to see kind of like behind the scenes. So tasks and tools are great and those are wonderful, but people like to hear this and get an idea of exactly what's going on. So let's talk about Tru Vision specifically. Why did you fall in love with Tru Vision? Tell me your moments with Tru Vision.
Okay, I think this is huge. And I think because we have had an issue of people really, really struggling when people leave the company. I'm excited to share this part of my story. So I saw an ad in a yard sale group and I'm like, what is this? And I looked at the girl's profile, okay, that was posting this, and she was negative. She was like not someone I would want to associate with. But I'm like, what the heck are these products, right? Because I saw the before and afters that she was sharing. She did not attract me. She repelled me. But all of a sudden, you know, I had a 6-month-old baby. I wanted to lose some weight. I'm like, I'm finding out what this is. So I put it in a search bar on Facebook, and I found my upline. And so she messaged me, and I'm like, she looked amazing, was very positive, was very like everything I wanted to be. She was very sweet. So I'm like, heck yes. So I'm like, give me some products. And she convinced me from day one to get the business builder pack, which came with 10 combos to sell. And I'm like, man, I'm a stay-at-home mom. We just had baby number 5. I can't afford this, so I have to sell these. So I set myself up. I sold 10 combos in 7 days, and I haven't paid for the product out of our budget ever since. I've worked really hard to make sure, because we could not afford this expense. So yeah, I fell in love with how I felt with her, and she had a lot of great qualities. But the kind of leader she was, she had me closed off from the entire company, like telling me that, you know, uplines were bad, people were bad. Elisa Cowart was never going to talk to me, okay, because Elisa Cowart was a snob, okay. So she was never going to talk to me, and I needed to block a lot of people. And coming from someone who was rejected and insecure and very whatever, of course, I'm like, man, this lady's making a lot of money. I have to listen, right? So I start watching the company. I go to some meetings that other people are holding, and I meet Dave Brown. And I'm like, these guys are the real deal. Like, these guys are built on a foundation of love, and they're not here for the money. Like, they're here because they love people. They're here because they're passionate about health. And that stood out to me incredibly, like so much so that my very first huge company-wide event, Tru Summit, my upline went there to try to recruit me to leave Tru Vision with her. And I talked to people at that event. I met Elisa Cowart, and she talked to me, right? She was a normal person. Like, I realized that I was being fed a bunch, you know, of BS because of her insecurities and because of her issues. And so when it was time for me to make a decision, do I stay here when I am not close or connected to anybody? I won't have an upline, or do I go with someone I've spent the last year with? And I was locked out of groups. I'd made 1-star director and had to totally start over because she took everybody with her. So I am the only person on her entire leg that stayed with this company. And I stayed because I know they're the real deal. Okay. They're not out for the fancy cars. They're always going to put us first. And I know that's hard. I know we kind of freak out when things start changing. We get nervous and we have a fight or flight response. And I feel like this is a company worth fighting for. Change is scary no matter what, but it's necessary for growth no matter what. We can be comfortable in Tru Vision and something doesn't change for 10 years, but eventually it will have to, because that's life. Like, life is about growing and changing. And when you embrace that, you can take anything. So you don't need an upline. You don't need someone holding your hand. This is about you finding what you love about the company and what you want to do with your business, and no one else's opinion or action has any other influence on you from that point on.
I love that. I love that, Brandon. So here's a few key takeaways that I want to reiterate after what she just said. Let's do a profile check. What does your profile look attractive? Does it look like, you know, if Brandon's out scrolling Facebook, what's going to set yours apart from any other True Vision associate? You know, if there's a bunch of garbage and, you know, a lot of negativity, in most cases, that's not going to be attractive to people. And is that the kind of people you want to attract? Because I'm telling you, that's not who you want to bring into this business. You don't want drama. You don't want negativity. I mean, these are not the ideal clientele that you want to attract. So that's something I always try to get people to consider. Who are your ideal prospects specifically, and what do they want to see? What do they want to see? What can you educate them on? What can you help them with, you know? And that's ideally what your Facebook should be looking like. That your storefront is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and people are watching you. That's huge. Next takeaway, leaders leave. Leaders leave this company, and the company still goes on. Okay. So I think that's really important to note, because we've had a couple of waves where we've lost, like your upline specifically and a couple others at that time. And then we had another wave where we lost a couple more. Guess what? Business goes on, you guys. Here. Yeah, we're still here. We're still here and we're still growing. And again, the changes. I want to speak on behalf of corporate. When we started this company 5 years ago, they had no idea what was going to happen. Okay. So the adjustments that they've had to make on the corporate side, they've listened and they've put those into action for the greater good of our company long-term. So sometimes things aren't ideally at the time, but in the long term, it's absolutely necessary. You know, we went through a back office change. We're going through some different changes now. You all, it's absolutely worth it. And it's for growth. I mean, this is something, even like personal development, things that we go through in our life sometimes are tough, but it's because we're supposed to make something out of them. So I do just want to reiterate the importance of, you know, sticking with that. I mean, Brandon, what if you and I would have left, you know, the first time, or I just can't imagine. So I'm super grateful for that. I'm grateful that you're still here, obviously, and that we're still doing this, you know, we're still doing the True Vision thing, you know, 5 years later. You fell in love with the products, you got involved. So let's talk about team building. When were you like, you knew you had to sell the samples, but when were you like, okay, this is really like, you know, you went to a meeting. So what does look like building a team? What did that look like for you? What kind of culture were you trying to create? The importance of that, things maybe you've learned, and maybe some things that really sucked. Like I messed that up really bad, because we've all done that. I've done that too. Absolutely. That you would want to share with other people so that maybe they learn a lesson out of it. Okay.
So this is like, when I say, you guys, that we have to go through growth and we have to learn and we have to start and restart, I'm not even kidding you when I say right now, my team building is at a restart. I've apologized to a lot of people. Like every year I go back and think, what did I do wrong? Because here's the issue. When my top builders left, I took it very personal. And so all of a sudden my mindset was like, everybody leaves. Everybody's going to leave. Why am I going to invest in this person? They're just going to leave. So I'm like, oh, you want to build a business? Great. Here's some links. Here's some videos. Here's some training. See ya. And I leave it at that. Like I was and when I say I mean, this is still a current struggle for me. Like I am working on changing this mindset of like knowing everybody leaves. Okay. So this is a growth and development part. Like I'm a 2-star director. I've got people, my top builders I've got 2 people that have been with me for, you know, ride or die. And those are my biggest legs. And I think with them, it's the transparency. It's like I'm screwing this up. And I feel like I say that to them all of the time, because I just keep evolving and I keep realizing like what I'm doing. But the thing is, at the end of the day, there's nothing you're going to be able to do or say specifically to keep a team there. I think it's important that you're communicating and that you're reaching out. I think the fact that I'm not afraid to talk to them, that I'm not afraid for them to see that I struggle, keeps them there. It makes them not have to be so perfect. And so now I'm focusing on building those relationships, like truly the relationships. For a long time, it was about the money. I needed the money and people were going to leave. So I had to keep finding more people. And so I built really, really wide instead of like deep within the heart of my company. And so now I'm at the point where I'm helping them, just like I'm connecting with them as people. I'm getting more confident. I'm embracing what it is to be a leader. And this took a lot of goes. So I don't want you guys to give up if you feel like, you're lacking in team building, you're not ranking up, because it's not about rank. It's not about, how many people you can get to stick it out. It really is just about connecting with those people and feeling good that they're in your life. And the minute you do that, that's when you stop taking it personal. Like, it's okay if they're really great builders. It's okay if they just want to keep their hands warm by the fire. I've got a lot of people right now that really just want to stay connected because they like the community, right? They're not building. I don't even know the last time they've signed people, but they're there. They're buying products. They're loving the posts. They're sharing, before and afters. So I never want you guys to take it personal, what someone else ever does. And yeah, just embracing the building of the relationships is super important. Then you're going to be happy if they want to go somewhere else. If like they're excited that all of a sudden, this makeup company has a brand new mascara and they want to go out and like, that's their jam. Like, you celebrate that, right? We don't take it personal that this wasn't for them. How many things have we turned our back on in our lives because it wasn't for us, and who could have taken that personal? So, it just, yeah, I went on a tangent. Did I get off topic?
No, I think that was great. I think you hit some really important parts. And I agree with you. I think we get into this like numbers, recruit,
Mm-hmm.
copy, paste. And people wonder why their retention sucks, because there's not a relationship there. Again, we're all guilty of it. I'm not pinpointing anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm any better than, anyone else. There are relationships that I've let fall, or I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to check in on her. There are things that I am not good at. And I think it's, like you said, there's nobody perfect at this. That's for sure. And you don't have to be perfect to make it work. But I think, when we have the passion to build a business and we get it and we see the light, it is hard when you have others that don't. It's hard because you're excited for them and you're motivated. Look at this. I mean, we've all had that person that you're like, yes, they're going to be a rock star, but they didn't have that potential. Something was missing for them, or they just didn't want it. How frustrating is that? Like, who has had that person and you're like, yes, this is going to be my rock star, and they like don't get it. And you're like, hello, you don't get this. So I think we do, again, take it personal, but I think the importance is we all bring something amazing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, if they just want to hang out by the campfire, show up for events, show up to a party, show up on Power Hour, save some posts, cheer people on, cool. Appreciate them for what they bring to the table and respect that. I think that across the board, while myself and every single person in this company or any company may not get along perfectly, I respect what they bring to the table and what they're doing for the organization, no matter what. We're a bunch of women that work together. Are we all going to kumbaya all the time? Absolutely freaking not. And that's okay, as long as we respect and value people for what they bring to the table. And figuring that out, every level one, every personal enrollee is not going to want to build a business. So kind of finding out on day one, they just want their products. But on day 363, they may decide, hey, I want to do this. So I think that's something that's important, and knowing your personal enrollees, whether they've been grandfathered in or you have them, like, I know some of mine are needy. They want to talk every day. They want to stay connected. That's perfectly fine. And then I have some builders that are like, just leave me alone. Let me go. So finding out, and don't smother a good leader. That's another thing I see that happens a lot, is like, oh no, you got to do it my way. No, you can't do it that way, Brandon. You have to follow the rules and do this and do that and do this. I'm not saying to go fix a squeaky wheel or go reinvent the wheel, but I think sometimes we get kind of like mama bear syndrome, like we do as mothers, like we know what's best. So we're like, do it our way. But sometimes they have an amazing idea and it works on their own. And I think some people just, even if they fall on their face, that's okay. That's kind of like what this is about and kind of how we got here. So I think I think those are really good points. I'm like you, I kind of got off on a tangent, but something I'm kind of passionate about. And rebuilding, I think that's something, honestly, that's something we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to do over, and we're going to have to do over and over. Mm-hmm. So if you all think that you're just going to be here and ride this out, you know, the season is always changing, and my season now is different than when I first started. You know, my days look different than when I first started. So be prepared that there's going to be more change. There's going to be another season change in your business. Mm-hmm. You know, it may be rebuilding. It may be, you know, taking a step back. You know, obviously you were committed to working on your book. I mean, I'm sure that took some impact. You're a mom, you're writing a book, you're an author, you have all these things going on. So let's talk a little bit about time management, Brandon, because how do I babysat a baby for 24 hours? And I'm like, my hair is oily. I didn't take a shower till he went to bed. I'm like, how do people do this? Because I'm a work at home mom, but my kids have been in school since I did this. So I'm like, right. Day one, I already failed. Like, I don't know how people do it. So walk me through kind of like your DMO, or what a day in the life of you looks like, and how you.
So it's chaos. It definitely, because I do have 6 and my kids go to school in different cities, in different towns. So I am literally in the car a lot, driving everywhere. So I usually have like some motivational thing, like something inspirational in my ear. I'm listening to, you know, just a podcast, like whatever it is, just while I'm driving. So that helps me a lot, just to keep the sanity. In the mornings, the baby will sleep till like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'll lay there, and that's when I do like my birthday posts. I go to my memories, and then I see when I was friends with someone, like our friendiversary or whatever. So I'll click on all those, and I message people, and I'm like, you know, whatever conversation we need to have, we have it. Anybody that's not active, that's a fun time to like unfriend them. So it's about 2 hours that I'm like nurturing my Facebook. And that may not be the same for you. Like if you're just starting, I've got the 5,000 friend list. So I'm trying to always recycle people through that. And that's a lot to go through. And then you get stuck, you know, in those messages and just going through there. So I catch up on that. And then lately, now that the baby is, because she breastfeeds on demand, and it's crazy. So now that she's a year and a half, you know, almost 3 months now, I think, I've been going upstairs. As soon as my husband gets off work, I'm like, okay, I have to go upstairs. I have to get my work done. So I do my social media posts, Facebook Live if my Wi-Fi is friendly, whatever. Like if I have to do pictures, I do that. I have an email list for my book, and then I'm promoting the book. I'm finding blogs. I'm looking for, it's crazy. And by crazy, I mean like I had a breakdown about 3 days ago, like literally had to phone a friend, like freaking out, and I was bawling, and I'm just like, this is too much. It's too much because my True Vision business did take a hit. And so financially, I'm like, what am I doing? Am I going backwards? I can't do everything. And she's like, okay, what can you give up? I'm like, well, I can't give up the kids. I can't give up the business, and I can't give up the book. I can't give up. I have to keep going. Well, there's your answer. Like it gets hard. And when you ask yourself, like, what are you willing to give up? That's your answer. If you're not willing to give anything up, that's great. So then you have to just keep doing it. So now I had to take that step back and just like refocus. And there's not anything I'm willing to give up. I just have to keep going. It's not going to get easier. I have to get better. So that's my DMO is off the wall. And then if someone's sick, or if the kids have sports, I'll feel disconnected from social media. If I'm not every day in my group, I feel that like there's not as much activity going on in Messenger. And before it was really easy for me. Like if I wasn't feeling that momentum, I just was like, oh, I don't know where to start. I'll just give up. And a week or two would pass. And then I'm like, oh my God, I can't let this time pass like that. So now I've been really adamant about, I have to write things down. Like no matter what today, I have to do this. I have to do that. If the kids have something, it doesn't matter if I'm up an extra hour, it has to happen. So it really is just committing to the small things that you know are going to bring your idea of success, right?
Right. And I love that, Brandon. Let's talk a little bit about that because I think that's super important. Idea of success. And I think a lot in this industry, particularly, and even at True Vision Health, people get really caught up on ranks and ranking and this and that. I had one of a rock star. He said to me one time, he said, I'm just not successful at this. I'm like, hell yes, you are. Is what you're doing making an impact in your life? Someone else's life, and is it bringing money into your life that's changing your life? You know, whether it's, you know, $500 or $5,000 or $500,000, if it's bringing you value, then that is success, you guys. Sometimes you have to know that the efforts that you are putting in are still successful. Don't get so caught up. I'm not saying don't have goals and dreams. I'm saying don't discourage yourself and think for 1 minute that you're not being successful, because if you're changing your life, helping change someone else's life, and additionally you get to make a little extra money too, that is success, you know? So I think we just have this in our mind of, you know, a title or a number or this or that to be successful, when showing up every day is success. That's okay. And, you know, what you're doing now is going to keep going and keep going and keep going. You know, the old analogy, you have to water the seed. You know, I can't tell you when that plant is going to grow, but if you keep watering it, it's going to grow. If you quit watering it, it's never going to grow. That much I can promise you. It's going to die. So if you stop what you're doing for your business right now because you're discouraged and you're not successful, it's dead. If you keep going and showing up, even when you don't freaking feel like it, Brandon, you show up when you don't feel like it. I show up when I don't feel like it. Everyone on this call shows up at some point in your life when you don't freaking feel like it, right? So I think that's super important is, you know, the consistency. So what does consistency look like, and how has that made an impact on your business, specifically Facebook Lives? I know your Wi-Fi is not the best, but let's talk about the difference that Facebook Lives have made in your business.
That's changed everything for me, and it's been a comfort. I wish you guys, if there was anything you got out of this, it would be me saying that Facebook Lives are really important, and utilizing stories, it's really important. I'm all about attraction marketing. I am a stay-at-home mom, and that's my number one jam. Okay. I'm a mom. Like, if people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a mom. That's my success. Being able to be home with my kids. That's my success. That's my power. So, attraction marketing is everything for me. And the fact that I get a chance to have a platform, where I can come out and talk about whatever the hell I want. That's a great thing for me. And it's an awesome way to reach out to people. I have built my business. 50% of it is because of the attraction marketing. It's because of my lives. It's because I've been fearless and made a fool of myself. It's because I ramble on, like, all of that stuff, and it brings people to me. I don't have to go out and chase as many people as the next person, because I'm willing to go live, and then I'm willing to broadcast myself going live, doing whatever. I did a how to put on a wig video once, because I wear a lot of hair. That thing is up to like 70,000 views. I don't even know. It's huge. And I'll still randomly share it because then it gets people in my inbox. And the important part that you guys are understanding about your business, we're looking for dissatisfied people. I mean, that's like the whole thing. They're dissatisfied with their job, or they're dissatisfied with their weight, or maybe they love their job, but they're dissatisfied because they don't have time freedom. Right? So once you start understanding, when you're having those conversations with people, you realize, like, where are they dissatisfied? And that's your job right now. Your job is to start having conversations and zeroing in on where someone is struggling. Okay. So you're not going to message everyone and be like, hey, try my products for weight loss, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, not everybody needs the health supplement. Some people really care about their health and they're already taking care of that. How can this benefit them? Right? So you're going to zero in on the people that are like, you know, I hate my job, or I don't have this time. And as long as you're open to having these conversations with people, you can navigate wherever it is that they're dissatisfied. And that's where you go in for that, you know, for the kill, I say, basically. But attraction marketing is easy because you're not out there sending the cold market messages like, hey, I know I don't know you, which those work great. And now that I took a step back because of my book, I can tell you right now, I'm cold market prospecting right now. I'm like, hey, I don't know you because I took a step back. My Wi-Fi has been crappy. My priorities have been crazy, but I'll send the messages out, and what happens is they get on my page and then they start going through videos. And I could tell you this is how I get everybody, because they're like, oh my God, I just watched your video, and whoa. And so they start following me, and boom, it's like that. So if this isn't about you, like at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's not about your security. It's not about how smart you are. It's not about how pretty you are, because there's always someone smarter than you. There's always someone prettier than you. There's always someone doing better than you, but nobody cares about that. Like if you show up and you're real and you're unapologetic, people love that. Like people love that. They want to be a part of that. So Facebook Lives are my business. That's my jam.
And I think another valid point here is, Brandon, that's how you're going to attract people. And that's also how you're going to weed out people that aren't for you. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, we're offended or we get our feelings hurt as human nature if someone doesn't like us. But if they don't like us, then they shouldn't be doing business with us anyway, right? Like maybe they don't like me, maybe they don't like my videos, maybe they don't like my personality, but they're like, Brandon, I love her. They're going to do a lot better as your client than they are mine, right? So I think we're constantly weeding out who would work for us and who wouldn't work for us. And I think sometimes that's a lot of the problem, especially with cold marketing. You don't know them well. Maybe you're just not a good fit. Maybe you don't communicate well, so it's like maybe they would communicate better with someone else. And you guys, that's okay. God gave us our own God-given talents and abilities that, maybe they connect better with Brandon. Maybe they connect better with me. That's okay. And it's okay to feel that way, and we take it personal. So I think that's something that I think is super important. So we do have a question. How often do you go live? How do you decide what to discuss?
This is great. If I had incredible Wi-Fi, I would be live probably 5 days a week for sure. Because people love consistency, and I wish I could do even the What's in the Envelope Wednesdays have struggled, because I feel like the more I focus and I'm excited on doing a video, that's the day that my Wi-Fi doesn't work. And not only does my Wi-Fi not work, I'm in a shitty town, so I can't even drive to the next, I can't drive to McDonald's and use their Wi-Fi. Like if there is no Wi-Fi here, there is no Wi-Fi. So if I had a better Wi-Fi system, it would be at least 5 days a week that I would be going live. I think I'm going to jump off of this question because I feel like I need to say something really important to you guys. If you really just took the time out, if you're wondering about what to post or what to talk about, if you find 5 main things in your life that are important to you, 5 main things, and what needs to happen is you need to get a pen and paper, and I preach this to everybody. I preach this on my lives. You have to be writing things down. So it's very important that maybe you should start and say, what is my ideal coworker like? Like my next big leader, what do they like? Do they have parents? Do they have kids? Do they cuss? Do they not cuss? Do they drink? Do they not drink? You know what I mean? Like every little detail that you can think, be very specific and say, my ideal client is this. And I know that
the answer is not everyone. If your ideal prospect is everyone, cancel that right now, because it's not true. It's not going to work. Do you want a mom, someone that has kids, someone that's on food stamps, someone that's struggling? Do you want someone that is, just unhappy with their job and maybe wants to be with their kids? Like you really have to be specific about who it is that you want to work with. And all of a sudden your posts are going to start connecting to those people. Like it's going to be a magnet to the universe, right? So when you're thinking about what to post or what to go live about, you think about the things that are important to you. And me, that's personal development. That's like battling the demons every day. That's being in the arena. That's like facing haters head on. And that's my jam. So for me, when I'm talking about when I think about what to go live about, it's usually something that's happening in my current inbox, like a conversation I'm having with someone. Like tonight was, people struggle with saying no. And I found that out yesterday going live, talking about how to build your self-esteem, right? Because self-love is like my number one thing. I feel like people don't understand how important that is, especially moms. So I go off of like the previous video or the,
whatever it is that I'm talking to an associate about or a friend about. And that's kind of what I do. And if all else fails, I Google, like, 3 tips to a healthier diet, or, how to lose weight without a diet, because then, you give people these 3 free tips of like how to lose weight without the diet, which is obviously move more. Choose 2 better meals for you during the day than just 3 unhealthy meals. I mean, there's always something. Drink more water. And then at the end of the video, you can be like, oh my gosh, and you guys, I have this awesome tool. If you're interested, make sure you inbox me because it helps me with my energy. And then you get to plug your business. So the ideas for going live are endless. You're in your head if you're thinking about that.
I love that. And I think that's so important. I want to back up where she was talking, because this is something, the importance of specifically, what do your prospects want to hear and see about? Something that does best for me are recipes, like something, not even ones, like just ones that I've shared, like re-uploaded myself. I get the most views on that and the most shares on that, because that's obviously part of who, I'm attracting, and recipes do really, really well, especially like those video recipes. And I feel like that's something as moms, like that's pretty universal. I don't care if you're a mom, you're a, work all the time, whatever, you're single. We always want something good, fast, easy, and simple to make, right? I feel like that's pretty kind of universal. So I feel like cooking is good, but specifically, like you said, like that, I want that to be everyone's homework. Like, what specifically does your ideal prospect look like? Again, if the answer is everyone, you're wrong. You're going to be sadly disappointed. Your feelings are going to get hurt, and you're going to feel like a failure because you're not going to recruit everyone. Everyone's not going to like you. Everyone's not going to like me. Everyone's not going to connect. We're not going to communicate well. If you're not a great communicator with someone that you're maybe not necessarily meant to communicate with, I think that we take everything in this business so personal, and they're just like some things that are just the universe. Like, everyone's not going to get along, everyone's not going to like you. And that's hard. That hurts. That drives me crazy. I'm like, what? Why wouldn't you like me? You know what I mean? That's just kind of my personality, but I think it's so important. So yeah, I agree with you. Crappy internet is not fun. So there are really good, like she said, worst case scenario, Google it or talk to people about like what's going on in your life, and transparent. The more transparent you are with people and the more realistic you are with people, the more connected they are, especially if you are using cold prospecting, if you're using yard sales or things like that. That's how they get to know you, are these videos, and that's what's going to make the difference in a sale or them moving on to find somebody else that they maybe do connect a little bit better with. So I think that is super important. So I've talked a lot. I just want to see specifically, we talked a little bit about tasks and things like that. Did you have any specific tasks you wanted to get to, or some pointers that I'm just going to kind of let you take over for the last 10 minutes, because I've been interview styling and we've hit some good topics, but I want to make sure you cover everything that you wanted to cover.
Yeah, I think, so as far as tasks, you guys need to be going through the birthdays, and I'm not talking about posting on their wall. I'm talking about like sending a personal inbox message of like, happy birthday, going through your friend anniversaries. That's very important. Make sure that you are adding new people to your page every day, and deleting people that are not active. So if you go to do like a happy birthday post and they haven't like commented or done anything on their wall for like a month or 2, you need to delete them. I understand everybody feels like they have to have X amount of friends. I can assure you, if you only have 1,000 friends and they're all pretty interactive, you're getting more engagement than someone like me with 5,000, because I have a lot of people who are not active. So you want to make sure that you're refreshing your friends list daily, and that includes adding people. If you're not into like the cold market of just going into the yard sale groups, I mean, that gets a lot of us in Facebook jail. I get that. The important thing, or the important way to add groups or people, is to join groups that you're passionate about. Okay. Like for instance, I watch The Bachelor. Okay. I'm a sucker for it. I love it. The Bachelorette. So I'm in those groups. And I start conversations. I rally people up. I engage on the posts, and I've had a lot of friends because of that. I'm a breastfeeding mom, so I'm very, very active in all of those groups, and I have friends I'm adding consistently. As long as you're engaging in those groups, if you're just going in for the sole purpose of, I just want to add these people so they'll buy from me, they catch on to that. Like everybody's onto that. So make sure you're going in there and you're actually just being a human, you know, someone's looking for advice or tips or whatever. If there's 1,000 comments, still give your stuff, because there's someone that's going to see it and say, hey, I really loved your comment. I sent a friend request. I hope we could connect. Make sure that you clean out your Facebook page. I can promise you, if every single day you're like, I woke up, I have a headache, I'm stressed out with the kids. Like I got, you know, if everything is negative, people are going to avoid that. And I know we're all about like being transparent and being honest and being who you are. If you are seriously having a bad day every single day, that's you. Like you still have to take responsibility for that, and no one wants to know about it. Okay. I do share with people when I struggle, but you're not going to see my Facebook page a bunch of crying stuff. Like I told you guys right now, I had the biggest breakdown I've had in a long time, like 3 days ago, where I thought it was just too much. I'll share that in a place like this. I didn't go on my Facebook page and say that, you know, the world is ending, it's over, I quit, which is how I felt, right? I'm like, I quit everybody, I'm going to run away. Don't engage with other people on a negative bitch fest, right? If you've got people that are really posting negative stuff all the time, they've got to go. Another really important thing that you're doing, you need to post on your page like twice a day. Not more, not less. Like using your page twice a day is very important. So do an engaging post or go live or posting something positive. And if you're going to do quotes, I think everybody loves to do the quotes. That's a great thing, but make sure you're putting your take on it to say like, you know, like today I shared something about your story is your gift to the world. And I posted in the comment thing of like how important it is, no matter what you're going through, that sharing that with people is the magic. Like that's your gift back to the universe. Like our life is a gift. We're blessed to be here. So to give back to that, you need to share what you're going through. Definitely utilize your stories. I don't know if you guys are doing that, but that's super important because nobody wants to watch commercials. But stories, you can get away with a little bit more. So if you're posting, you know, a few videos of whatever for the day or something you ate, then you can throw a weight loss before and after picture in there. Utilize the stories, especially for engagement on Facebook or Instagram. I feel like stories on Instagram get a lot more traction than on Facebook, but they both definitely build a lot. And this also shows you like who's watching. Okay. Cause I'll put a post up and I'll get, you know, 10 likes on it. My story, I'll put the same thing on there and I have 300 people see that. So it just verifies the fact that people are watching, and that 1 in 300 is going to message me in 6 weeks and be like, man, I'm ready. I'm all in. And that's my rock star, right? That's going to be the person that signs like 10,000 people in a week. It happens. So just be consistent, show up for people. I think that's like the most important stuff for me.
Well, I think like you mentioned, there's a reason those stories I've found myself like looking at a lot of stories lately. You know what I mean? Like, so if I'm doing it myself personally, I know other people are too. And it's the first thing up there. Like there's a reason it's the first thing on Instagram and it's the first thing on Facebook. And I'm like you, I tend to look at more on Instagram, but I have a lot more real followers on Facebook too. So I feel like, you know, I feel like you should be utilizing both. I also feel like there's a girl that I follow and she'll post like 10,000 back to back. I won't watch them. If I see like, you know what I mean?
1,000 dots. Yes.
Yeah. Back to back. I just swipe past the whole thing. Like that's not attractive to me.
Right.
Some people watch the whole thing. And I do like some of hers, but like once I'm like, nope, I just swipe right over. I'm like, that's too many. So I think you have to kind of use a good character distance there too, like, and kind of a personal preference too. Like maybe you like that. That's cool. But I'm just like, nope, I'm not watching all that. But there's a reason that they're putting them first. And I think that again, this is another insight into your life, and that's what makes you real and transparent. And that's ultimately what people want to see. I can't figure out where to view stories since my iPhone 7 updated. I see where to post a story, but not where to view them. I'm not sure either. It's on the Facebook ones because I just see it top, like the first ones. So I'm not sure either. That's weird that they would be anywhere but the top.
But
even
stories, I don't know if you can see this. Like stories, I think for every update, they're just all kind of at the top here. So
yeah, that's where I thought too. That's the only place I've ever seen them. Mine's the same.
And yeah, I have an iPhone too, and I feel like your update should be the same as anyone that's doing it. So
yeah, it says that you can add yours too. Like it says your story, but then like the first one I see actually is Brandon's after my own. So
that's funny.
I know. I'm not really sure. Sorry. But I think that is super important. And even if you're not comfortable like doing it yourself, or like find funny quotes or find, before and after pictures. And the biggest thing, while we kind of have this platform, I want to talk about that. Try to make sure that the before and after pictures you're using are real. Like try, because I've seen so many, and people like, I'll use Brittany Klein, for instance. Another weight loss company was using Brittany's pictures, like, and it happens. I get it. Like, I totally get that. But I know, like, even in the Truest Ones page, I always try to do like drop a thread of your own, not your cousin, not like your personal testimony. And that's really the only way that you can like authenticate it, in my opinion, is like posting your own like personal, testimony. And then obviously people can let you use those. But I just thought that was a good opportunity to throw that out there, because I've seen like even people that aren't with the company anymore, like I've seen some testimonies of them floating around lately. And there's some people that are really good. If you find one that's not, like, put an X on it and put it in a group page and say FYI, because I'm sure someone's gotten like the cuss out message, like, excuse me, you were using mine. And it was just an accident. It doesn't happen on purpose. But when I do share before and afters, I try to really make sure I get to the root of it and find out that it is legitimate. So I think that's important. I just wanted to throw that out there while we were talking about that.
And you guys can, I think everyone on this would be a part of Truest Ones. I would hope so. And I do literally go back to Elisa's post where she said, post a profile picture. Like, several people have done it where you see people actually posting their own, because you just don't know.
Right.
You just don't know.
Yeah, I think that's true. So, Brandon, I appreciate it. What's coming up next? Are you doing audio for your book? Is that what I've seen?
Oh my God. Okay. So the funnest experience of my life to date, like, being a mom is cool. Running a business is cool. Being married is cool. Like, I do a lot of cool stuff. Writing the book was cool. Getting published was cool. I recorded audio, and that was the coolest thing ever.
I love it. I might even wait. I may not even read it. I love to hear the author read it in their own words. To me, I love, one, it's easier for me. I can listen, but there's something like magical, like hearing it and making it more real, because I make up voices in my head, I guess.
Right.
I'm super excited. I might just wait. Until and let you read it to me, because
it's in the edit process. I was pumped, and it's crazy. Like, I didn't really superfluous is one of my favorite words. Okay. And it took me an hour, not an hour, I'm exaggerating, but all of a sudden when I'm being recorded, I couldn't say it. I was superfluous. He's like, why did you write this word? I'm like, I love this word. And I was like,
he's like, you can't pronounce a word.
Yes. No, dude, but it was very cool. Like, I feel like if I failed in network marketing, if at the end of the day people were just like, I can't even work with you, Brandon, I would have a new passion in voiceovers or something. Like, that was very, very cool experience. I'm pumped. And now, like, I'm like trying to promote book number 1, and we're already working on book number 2, because I have a whole contract with my publishers. So while everyone's enjoying book number 1 and I'm appreciating it, I'm just like, man, that's cool, but I'm busy working on what's next, and it has to be better. And like, the reviews and the feedback, like, how do you get better than that? I'm waiting for the haters, you guys, because haters make you. I know everybody's like, I hope no one says anything bad. I'm like, dude, no one has been like, this is a waste of money. That waste of money review is where people are going to be like, oh, I want to check this out. Like, that's what draws people. So I'm still waiting for the bad review, and I don't know, haters make you. So I'm just like, where's my hater at?
Well, I'm waiting. At least you're ready. So that's awesome. And thank you, Brandon. I'm super excited for you. I'm super excited for your success. This is so exciting. She's one of our own to see this experience that you heard it. She's working on another one. So we have that to look forward to. We have the audio. Like, I'm super excited for you. So you have some really good. We love you. I'm so excited that you joined us. Thank you for taking time out of your chaotic life, as I can imagine, to be on Power Hour tonight. So I appreciate you, love you, and I hope to see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Yes. Good night.
Go get our book.